Hey there. So Bitcoin is making headlines again, and not just for its usual, roller coaster ride.
Hmm.
This time it's got something to do with the recent election results.
Interesting.
Yeah, you've sent over this Fox Business article
Right.
that talks about Bitcoin soaring to a record high after Trump's victory.
Right.
That's quite the unexpected pairing, wouldn't you say? Let's unpack this and see what's really going on.
Well, what's really interesting is how the market seems to have anticipated this outcome.
Oh,
Bitcoin surged past $84,500,
wow.
a new all-time high.
Okay.
And that's a 17% jump since November 6th,
Uh-huh.
the very day Trump won the election.
Wow. It's almost as if the market had a crystal ball. But it's seriously, what's driving this sudden surge? Is it really all about Trump's victory?
Well, it's definitely a major factor.
Okay.
Remember, Trump campaigned on turning the U.S. into a crypto capital, a Bitcoin superpower.
Right.
That kind of language sends a strong signal to the market.
I bet.
And traders are betting on a more crypto-friendly environment under his presidency.
Okay, so crypto-friendly. What does that actually look like in practice?
Think of it this way.
Mm.
Trump has been pretty vocal about his disagreements with Gary Gensler,
Right.
the current SEC chair.
Yeah.
He sees Gensler's approach to crypto regulation as too restrictive, even hostile.
Okay.
During his campaign,
Yeah.
Trump hinted at replacing Gensler and establishing a dedicated crypto advisory board to guide policy.
So a potential shakeup at the SEC?
Right.
A new pro-crypto advisory board?
Yeah,
That does sound like a significant shift.
it is.
But how does this impact everyday investors? Is this why we're seeing Bitcoin soar?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The Fox Business article highlights a fascinating trend.
Oh.
Investors who bet against Bitcoin ETFs have lost nearly $37 million since Election Day.
Wow.
That shows you the level of confidence building around Bitcoin's future.
So people are essentially putting their money where their mouth is, so to speak.
Right.
They're seeing a potential Bitcoin boom under a Trump presidency.
Exactly. And this surge of confidence is spilling over into Bitcoin ETFs.
Uh-huh.
We're seeing increased interest in funds like
Yeah.
the iShares Bitcoin Trust ETF, Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, Fidelity Wise Origin Bitcoin Fund, and ARK21 Shares Bitcoin.
Hold on, let's break that down for a second.
Sure.
You're throwing out a lot of ETF names.
Yeah.
What are they, and why should our listener care about them?
You're right. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
Think of a Bitcoin ETF as a way to invest in Bitcoin without actually owning the digital currency directly. It's like buying shares of a company that tracks the price of Bitcoin.
I see.
This makes it much easier for traditional investors to get exposure to the crypto market.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
So the growing popularity of these Bitcoin ETFs is a clear sign that investors are feeling bullish about Bitcoin's prospects,
right.
especially with a potentially pro-crypto administration coming in.
Precisely.
Okay.
It suggests that investors are anticipating a regulatory environment that will allow these ETFs to flourish, making Bitcoin more accessible and potentially driving its value even higher.
Okay, this is all starting to paint a clearer picture.
Yeah,
We've got a president-elect who's openly pro-crypto,
right.
potentially shaking up the SEC, and investors pouring money into Bitcoin and related ETFs.
It's a really interesting time.
Yeah, and this is where the regulatory landscape gets really interesting.
Mhm.
The Fox Business article also mentions SEC Commissioner Mark Uyeda calling for a pause on new crypto enforcement actions until clear regulations are in place.
A pause on enforcement.
Yeah.
Now that's intriguing.
Tell me more about this Commissioner Uyeda.
Okay.
Who is he, and why is his call for a pause so significant?
Mark Uyeda is one of the 5 commissioners at the SEC.
Got it.
He's known for being more open to the crypto industry than some of his colleagues.
Okay.
Now, his call for a pause isn't necessarily binding, but it's definitely a signal that even within the SEC,
Yeah.
there is growing recognition of the need for clearer crypto regulations.
Yeah. So it's not just the incoming administration that's pushing for a more crypto-friendly environment.
Right.
There's a shift happening within the SEC itself.
Exactly.
Okay.
And this pause on enforcement could be a crucial window of opportunity for the crypto industry.
I see.
It could give them some breathing room to innovate and grow while a new regulatory framework is being developed.
This brings us to another fascinating development from the article.
Okay, what's that?
Coinbase, one of the biggest crypto exchanges,
Right.
just made a $25 million investment in the 2026 midterm elections.
Wow.
They're backing a pro-crypto super PAC. Now, that's a pretty bold move, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Yeah.
And it speaks volumes about how the crypto industry is approaching this new political landscape.
Uh-huh.
They're not just sitting on the sidelines hoping for the best.
Right.
They're actively engaging with the political process,
Okay.
trying to shape regulations in their favor.
It's almost like they're saying,
Yeah,
we're here to stay and we're going to make our voices heard.
exactly. This investment from Coinbase is a clear signal that the crypto industry is becoming a force to be reckoned with,
Uh-huh.
both financially and politically.
Hmm.
They're playing the long game, investing in the future of the industry.
Right.
Yeah. And it's not just about campaign contributions.
Right.
The crypto industry as a whole is becoming more politically savvy.
Hmm.
They're hiring lobbyists,
Okay.
building relationships with lawmakers,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to educate policymakers about the complexities of this emerging technology.
So it's a multifaceted approach. They're
Yeah.
trying to influence policy from all angles.
Exactly.
But let's go back to Trump for a second.
Uh-huh.
The article dives into some of his specific campaign promises related to crypto.
Right.
What stood out to you?
One of the most significant promises,
Yeah.
and one that has the crypto world buzzing,
Okay.
is his intention to replace Gary Gensler as the chair of the SEC.
Right.
Trump has been very critical of Gensler's regulatory approach, calling it innovation stifling,
Oh.
and detrimental to the U.S.'s potential to become a global leader in the crypto space.
It sounds like a clash of ideologies almost.
Exactly. Gensler represents the traditional regulatory mindset, focused on investor protection and market stability.
Okay.
He's been very cautious about crypto,
Yeah.
arguing that it's a volatile and largely unregulated market that poses significant risks to investors.
And Trump, where does he stand on this spectrum?
Trump, on the other hand, seems to be embracing a more hands-off approach. He believes that less regulation will foster innovation
Okay.
and allow the crypto industry to flourish.
Right.
His vision is to create a regulatory environment that attracts crypto businesses and investment to the U.S., making it a global hub for blockchain technology.
So less red tape, more innovation.
Yeah,
It's a classic pro-business stance.
it is.
But how does that translate into concrete policy changes? What could a Trump-led SEC look like?
Well, we can speculate based on his campaign promises.
Okay.
Replacing Gensler is the first step. He's also talked about creating a more streamlined approval process for Bitcoin ETFs, which would make it easier for everyday investors to access the crypto market.
That would certainly be a game changer for investors.
For sure.
But wouldn't a more relaxed regulatory environment also increase the risk of fraud and scams? How do you balance fostering innovation with protecting investors?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a delicate balancing act.
Yeah.
Supporters of a lighter touch argue that too much regulation stifles innovation
Okay.
and drives crypto businesses offshore.
Uh-huh.
They believe that the market can self-regulate to a certain extent,
Right.
and that clear but not overly burdensome guidelines are enough to protect investors.
And those who favor a more cautious approach.
Yeah.
What are their concerns?
They worry that a hands-off approach will create a Wild West scenario where scams and market manipulation run rampant,
Okay.
ultimately harming investors and undermining confidence in the crypto market.
Right.
They argue that strong regulation is essential to ensure market integrity and protect vulnerable investors.
It's a complex debate with no easy answers.
It is.
And it's one that our listener needs to understand because ultimately it's their money that's at stake.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Whether you're a seasoned crypto investor or just starting to dip your toes into the water,
Right.
it's crucial to be aware of the regulatory landscape and how it's evolving.
Mm-hmm.
The decisions made by the SEC under a Trump administration will have a real impact on your investment opportunities and the overall health of the crypto market.
So it's not just about following the price of Bitcoin anymore.
Okay.
It's about understanding the forces that shape the market.
Exactly.
And those forces are increasingly political.
They are.
Okay.
The crypto world is no longer operating in a vacuum,
Mm,
becoming intertwined with the political arena.
right.
And investors need to be savvy about both the technological advancements and the political developments that are shaping this dynamic landscape.
So with all this in mind, what advice would you give our listener who's trying to navigate this complex world of crypto and politics?
I'd say first and foremost, do your research.
Okay.
Don't rely on headlines or social media hype.
Right.
Dig deeper into the policies being proposed.
Mm-hmm.
Understand the arguments on both sides of the debate.
Okay.
And form your own informed opinions.
That's sound advice.
I think so.
And as you mentioned earlier, the crypto industry itself is becoming more active in shaping the political discourse.
Yeah.
They're not just reacting to regulations, they're actively trying to influence them.
Yes, and that's a significant development.
Right.
Coinbase's $25 million investment in the midterms is a prime example of this.
Right.
It shows that the crypto industry is willing to put its money where its mouth is, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
and engage directly in the political process.
What does this mean for the average investor? Should
Mhm.
they be concerned about this growing political influence?
Well, it depends on your perspective.
Okay.
Some might see it as a positive development.
Right.
The crypto industry has a vested interest in creating a regulatory environment that allows it to thrive.
Uh-huh.
And their involvement in politics could lead to more balanced and informed policies.
So it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
It's just another layer of complexity to consider.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it highlights the importance of staying informed.
Right.
Pay attention to the political landscape.
Mm-hmm.
Watch for any new legislation or regulatory announcements related to crypto,
Got it.
and understand how these developments could impact your investments.
It sounds like we're entering a new era for crypto,
I think so.
one where politics and regulation play a much more prominent role.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it's going to be fascinating to see how this all unfolds.
Mm.
Will Trump deliver on his pro-crypto promises?
Right.
How will the SEC navigate this changing landscape?
Yeah.
And what role will the crypto industry play in shaping the future of regulation?
Hmm.
These are all questions that will be answered in the coming months and years.
And as always, we'll be here to help our listeners navigate this complex and evolving world.
We will.
Speaking of navigating, we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From Bitcoin's post-election surge to the potential shakeup at the SEC and the growing political influence of the crypto industry.
It's been a whirlwind tour, the intersection of crypto finance and politics.
Yeah.
But I think it's crucial to understand these connections, especially in today's rapidly evolving landscape.
Absolutely. And I have a feeling this is just the beginning of a much larger conversation. It feels like we're witnessing a real turning point for crypto.
It does.
It's gone from this niche technology to a major player on the global stage,
Right.
and now it's entering the political arena in a big way.
A fascinating evolution to observe.
Yeah.
Remember, just a few years ago,
Mhm.
crypto was seen as this fringe movement,
Yeah.
something for tech enthusiasts and libertarians.
Right.
Now it's being discussed in boardrooms
Wow.
and debated in Congress.
It's definitely gone mainstream. And with that mainstream adoption
Yeah.
comes increased scrutiny, both from regulators and the public.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's where the need for education and clear communication becomes paramount. The crypto industry needs to do a better job of explaining its complexities,
Okay.
addressing concerns,
Right.
and building trust with policymakers and the general public.
And on the flip side,
Yeah.
policymakers need to be willing to learn and engage with this new technology in a thoughtful and informed way.
Right.
It's not about stifling innovation, but about finding the right balance between fostering growth and protecting investors.
Absolutely.
Yep.
It's a delicate balance,
Right?
and one that requires collaboration and open dialogue from all stakeholders. The future of crypto hinges on finding that sweet spot where innovation can flourish within a framework that ensures market integrity and protects investors.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Bitcoin's post-election surge,
Yeah.
what's the one key takeaway you want our listener to walk away with?
I'd say the most important takeaway is this.
Yeah.
The crypto market is no longer operating in isolation.
Hmm.
It's becoming increasingly intertwined with the political and regulatory landscape.
Okay.
Understanding these connections is crucial for anyone who wants to invest in,
Hmm.
or even just to understand this rapidly evolving space.
So it's not just about tracking the price of Bitcoin anymore.
Right.
It's about understanding the forces that are shaping the market, both technological and political.
They are, and those forces are constantly in flux.
Hmm.
So stay informed, do your research, and be prepared for a wild ride.
Okay.
The crypto world is full of surprises,
Yeah.
and that's part of what makes it so exciting.
Well said. And on that note, we'll leave our listener with this thought.
Okay.
The future of crypto is still being written. Pay attention to the story as it unfolds, because you might just find yourself playing a part in it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time.